The cool evening air chilled your legs on the walk to the school building. Whose stupid idea was it anyway to wear a short skirt in this kind of weather? But then you remembered that it was almost required that girls wear cute, semi-revealing outfits on Halloween. And it would all be worth it if it could secure you a dance with Katsuki. You smirked with new resolve, empty prop picnic basket bouncing in hand as you picked up your pace. UA's Halloween Mixer was an event that every student looked forward to during fall semester. Fun dance music, spooky-themed decorations and food, all of your friends dressed up in costumes. This was bound to be a night to remember. Through the glittering cobweb-adorned doors you walked, hearing the Monster Mash play in the background. The music got louder when you entered the gymnasium, taking in everyone's costumes. All the girls had similar outfits to yours, tight-fitting with plenty of leg showing. Well, all except Momo. Love your outfits! You walked up to her and Mina, smiling widely. They had coordinated so that Mina was a very sexy Snow White and Momo was the haggard old witch. Thanks! Mina exclaimed. You too! I, didn't get the memo that we were supposed to dress sexy. Momo blushed at the ground, feeling out of place. You couldn't help but laugh at that. There was just something terribly funny about how her ghastly appearance starkly contrasted her usual statuesque beauty. Well, it's probably for the best. You would have made us all look bad by comparison, you admitted honestly. You flatter me, but I don't think that. How precious! Your attention was drawn outwards to the dance floor. Ochiko and Midoriya had gone together as Dorothy and the Cowardly Lion. Finally, your gaze fell upon a familiar boy. Some sort of animal ears nestled into his blonde hair. I, think I'll go get some punch. You made the necessary generic excuse to leave and approached Bakugou at the snack bar. Hey, Katsuki. Nice ears. He turned around enough for you to see a tattered shirt, patches of fake fur poking out beneath it. What are you? A werewolf, he replied, handing you the glass of punch he just poured. It would have been polite, save for the way he violently shoved it into your hands. Ah, your outfits are so cute! Uraraka and Midoriya stood behind you, beaming. Little Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf! What a great couple's costume! You blushed at the ground. We, didn't come together. Katsuki eyed you curiously, thinking about how cute you looked when you were flustered. His scrutinizing gaze only unhinged you further. I'm, gonna go use the bathroom! And with that, you dashed through the double doors, fanning your flaming cheeks. You sighed in front of the mirror, realizing you had missed your chance to ask Katsuki for a dance. That was the whole reason you went over to the punch bowl in the first place. I'm an idiot. Outside the window of the bathroom, you could see the twilight sun setting, flickering stars besprinkled across the orange and purple autumn sky. The harvest moon glowed full and red, a rare sight to behold this late in the month. Before your eyes, the last flicker of light disappeared over the horizon. A strange sort of green flash filled the darkness. Did you imagine it? It was hard to be sure, because all of a sudden the picnic basket in your hand felt heavy enough to nearly topple you over. What the? An appetizing aroma filled your nostrils. Your jaw dropped when you opened your once fake picnic basket to find a smorgasbord of hot, delicious foods. That wasn't there before. What kind of magic was this? You ran out to show it to your classmates but collided with someone. You were met with the lovely eyes of Todoroki, who looked very dashing, and strangely realistic, as a pirate. Without a word, he snatched the basket from your hands and hightailed it towards the exit. You were speechless. Did you just plunder my picnic basket? Shoto! But he had already disappeared out the door. Suddenly, you were brought back to reality when a collection of horrified screams filled your eardrums. You bolted into the ballroom only to see a crowd of mayhem, shrieking and running in all directions. The overhead lights had been shattered, leaving broken glass scattered across the dance floor. Once your eyes adjusted to only the moonlight, you were able to make out shapes of large, unfamiliar creatures. Villains? Backed against a wall, you felt something warm and large brush your leg. A tail? The shadow turned and you were face to face with a massive lion. Petrified, you froze, praying you wouldn't be noticed by it. But it must have smelled your fear, for it turned, looked you right in the eyes, and roared. You cringed against the wall, waiting to be eaten. But you weren't. You peeked your eyes open to notice the lion giving you an almost human expression. But then you looked even closer. Those green eyes. Midoriya? He gave a low grunt in response. Traveler! Mina, be careful! We don't know what he's capable of! You warned her, unsure if Midoriya's docile personality or the carnivorous beast inside would take hold. He says he doesn't know what happened. The lights went out and everything changed. Wait, how do you know that? He just said that. You can understand him? You can't? She tilted her head at you. What the? Oh yeah, you're freaking Snow White, that's why! She can talk to animals! What? I think everyone turned into the costumes they were wearing. What? Seriously? Her jaw dropped, and she realized you were right. Another few panicked people flew by you, screams piercing your ears. What are they running from? Ah! The entire snack table flew from one side of the gymnasium to the other, crashing into the wall with a large bang. It was lucky that nobody was in the line of fire. But what on earth could have thrown a table with that amount of force? The three of you peered around the corner, seeing a hairy, muscled creature lurking. What is that? The monstrosity's ear twitched at the sound of your voice, and you were met by shining blood-red eyes, menacing and lethal. Oh my god, it's Katsuki! He crouched, creeping closer with bared teeth shining in the moonlight. His eyes were locked on yours, and yours alone. You took slow steps backwards, afraid sudden sounds or movements would trigger the beast. Why is he staring at me? You're Little Red Riding Hood. Mina kept her voice hushed. You're his target. You felt your throat tighten with fear. Katsuki? Your voice quaked and your mouth became dry as a desert. Is that you in there? The wolf-like creature showed no signs of understanding, making this situation all the more dire. You turned to glance at your lion friend. Midoriya, can you fight him? As large as Midoriya's full-size lion form was, Werewolf Katsuki still dwarfed him by a sizable margin. Despite this fact, you remembered Midoriya besting Bakugou in a fight once before, and believed he still stood a chance. A few unintelligible grunts were his response. He says he can't. He's too afraid. You gawked at him, noticing his full body trembling, tail tucked between his legs. All right, you're the cowardly lion! Damn it! It would have been in Izuku's nature to stay and fight for the rest, but somehow the spell that gripped the school prevented his bravery from shining through. Katsuki gripped his claws into the ground, the sheer force of it cracking the flooring beneath him. You recognized that stance. Katsuki was ready to pounce. A loud roar echoed in your ears, getting your attention. Judging by his position, you didn't need Mina to translate. You climbed on his back and he darted through the exit doors, furry paws nearly slipping when he cut a corner too quickly in the tile hallway. As the cold night air hit your skin, you heard a loud, ominous howl from the hunter. You thought for a moment that it might just be the last thing you ever hear. Izuku made long strides, wind blowing through your hair as you increased the distance between you and that monster. After a while of running, your ride slowed his pace, feeling that it was safe enough for a rest. He made one swift leap over a stone wall before crouching down to let you off his back. I think we lost him. You huffed in relief. Midoriya made a low growl in agreement. What are we gonna do? Mina asked. I don't know. Wait it out, I suppose? If it's just someone's quirk playing a horrible prank, it probably won't last very long. What if he hurts somebody, though? You bit your lip in apprehension. You hadn't even thought about that. We're heroes, aren't we? Shouldn't we go back and try to save people? With what power? We can't use our quirks like this. Little Red Riding Hood doesn't have any superpowers, so neither do I. You saw her frown at the ground, hearing little growls from behind you. But you aren't even pink anymore. You gestured to her pale white skin and black hair. You're right. She sighed in defeat, low rumbling still getting louder in your ears. And good grief, Midoriya, will you stop growling so much? It's kind of freaking me out. You turned but saw that no sounds were coming from his large furry jaw. But then who... It had taken until this moment to become aware of where you were. Gravestones surrounded you as far as the eye could see, and the moans of the undead were approaching, closer and closer. Terror gripped the group, and it was then the horrific realization hit you. Your classmates were not the only ones affected.